In commemoration of the Day of African Child 2025, African Youth and Adolescent Network has called for advancing the rights of girls and young people in Nigeria. Speaking at the one-day dialogue, Honorable Azizat Yeshawu, representing Honorable Minister for Youth Development, said the ministry is working to get a national youth policy that will accommodate those in the formal and informal sector.
And so he is more committed to ensuring that what feedbacks that come that has to do with young people, I think that what we can easily grab. He also has the focus around involving young people in the informal sector, right? I wouldn't lie, for those of us that are in the formal sector, in as much as we talk about limited opportunity, limited space, you can imagine what it means for young people who do not have the access that you have right now to have even this conversation or to have access to what to government officials. So for us, I think one of the things that the federal ministry itself has as a matter of policy is, the national youth policy. I think that when we are able to get that done, realize that this is an easy access to ensuring to see what government is actually doing.
Adek Basil Osawese, National Coordinator of AFRIYAN, stated that the one-day dialogue was targeted towards having robust conversation with policymakers in Nigeria who are responsive for youth development and work on ways to solidify the policy that will cover the protection of children and young people.
So today we are celebrating the African Day of a Child, the African Day of a Child, and this is because we had to do a dialogue with our policymakers, that are responsible for youth development. We had the Ministry of Youth here and the Youth Parliament here, and we had 30 of the youth-led organization leaders and activists who were engaging with them, asking questions through the dialogue on ways that will advance the child, adolescent, and youth development. And having them in the room in this dialogue was very progressive, because we're able to even understand. I mean, we had them accountable to us. They're able to tell us the things they've done around children and youth development, the policies that they're currently reviewing, and how we can even come in to make our own contributions and inputs on things that will solidify the policy that will cover the protection of children and young people, and they were able to share with us things they've done, their plans, and even open for collaborations with us. And we had young people ask them direct questions around budgeting, around programs, around how we can come in. And I'm so happy to see that at the end of the day, at the end of the dialogue, we are able to even know the ways of how, as a network, as youths, we can come in and work closely with the government. They are in need of us. As long as we're bringing solutions to the table, they are so in need of us to collaborate with them in bringing development and changes for adolescents and youth across different states in Nigeria.
Also, Speaker Honorable Ali Idris Zakari, Speaker National Youth Parliament, represented by Honorable Ridwan Babadi, Majority Leader Youth Parliament, said education is stepping stone to greatness. Encourage young people to embrace education, as he called on the government to make access to loan more accessible to Nigerians.
My message to the African child or Nigerian child is there is this quote I do like a lot, which is from Malcolm X. Education is the passport to the future, because the future is for he who prepares for it today. So what I can tell the child or the youth also is to try as much as possible to educate himself first, because the future is all about education. Without education, you can't be anything. There are possibilities that you might see some people dropping out and becoming successful, but the chances are rare. So we should try as much as possible to be good ambassadors of our dear country.
Other participants appreciate AFRIYAN and UNFPA as the call for more dialogue that will yield sustainable development.
Okay, so I think that this was a beautiful conversation organized by UNFPA and AFRIYAN. It's so important for young people, especially leaders, people who are actively working in this space and creating awareness where young people can have opportunities. So it's very important for us to have meetings like this conversation where we can interact and plan and decide the way forward, moving on and coming up with major key decisions. It is also very important that we had the Ministry of Youth represented here and the Youth Parliament. So today they have shared some of the projects that they are doing, the conferences that is coming up, some of the policies for the Youth Parliament, some of the bills and policies that they constantly keep developing to create opportunity for young people in Nigeria. And they've also made commitment to us today to say that they are open to collaborate with AFRIYAN and other youth organizations to ensure that whatever we are doing as youth organization is also reflected in what they are doing at that level. That's the federal level, the ministry level.
Okay, this event is a table dialogue to enable us to have a robust conversation about the development of young people, but particularly on a child in the area of children, whereby the government can come in to support and other organizations who are working on putting child's rights straight. So those are the areas we are talking about. What part of the things that we're talking about is access to information whereby development can come. So this discussion is aiming at promoting young people in the area of access to the program that government is doing, other development like opportunities to programs like funding programs for young people. More especially, AFRIYAN is taking this to another dimension, and we that we are part of the AFRIYAN, we are trying to ensure that we support them in the area of having this robust conversation. You can see that the youth parliament is also here in expanding this conversation, so they can as well take it in the grassroots and make policy that appeal to the development of young people. And the area of abuse, children are being abused and nobody stands for them. And these are the area where we are in the strategy, we are building strategy whereby we can bring out these children so that we fight for them and also get the right information and where we can follow up to fight for them.
We expect at the end of this dialogue for us to have actionable steps that we are taking back to our communities, to our organizations, because we want the girls' voice to matter. And we want in your conversation for it to be very inclusive, bearing in mind the little girl with disability, bearing in mind, making the boys' engagement, it has to be inclusive, so that at the end of it all, we'll have a working society. So for us in UNFPA, we are happy to have you and we are delighted to be part of this meeting.
The event was sponsored by United States Population Fund, UNFPA, a UN agency that will work to deliver a world where every pregnancy is wanted, every child birth is safe, and every young person's potential is fulfilled.